Welcome back, everyone. Arsenal is in a very bad place right now because they lost to Bournemouth this weekend, which means now in third place in the league table, kind of Man City and Liverpool, with a 3-point gap behind Man City and a 4-point gap behind Liverpool. And they have a very tough run of fixtures coming ahead. They have a lot of injuries to kind of clear out the squad. It's going to be a very tough time for them the next couple of weeks. So we'll talk about that and see how these couple of weeks are going to change the season that Arsenal is going to have this year. I mean, talking about the game they lost against Bournemouth this weekend, obviously they were very conditioned by Saliba's red card kind of early into the game. But that doesn't really mean that Arsenal deserved even to win before the red card. They were playing bad at all levels before the red card, and that game was not acceptable. And I kind of that's where you see the effect that Odegaard had on this Arsenal team, because since he got injured in week 3 of Premier League, Arsenal hasn't really been playing that well. And again, this game against Bournemouth just really showed that they weren't really able to create much without Odegaard. And I kind of blame that on Arteta because he did get rid of both his backups at that position. Both Emerson Rowe was sold to Fulham, and Vieira was loaned out to Porto, and now he just ended up not having no backup to Odegaard. Now with him gone, you kind of have to kind of strategize around that, and pretty much see that Arsenal hasn't had the same outputs that they typically had before Odegaard got injured. I think that was problem number one. But with the next couple of weeks coming by, Arsenal is going to have a very tough time going through. Because, first off, the injuries. Arsenal is loaded with injuries as of right now. Julian Timber, who's a pretty good defender, helps a lot in that defensive depth. He's out injured after having a massive injury last year. He still has some injury troubles, and two main injury worries, which are Saka and Odegaard. Saka was injured in the international break, and it was very fair to see that Saka also had a very good impact on the Arsenal team because offensively, without Saka, Arsenal did not go by. But from what I've read, Saka is supposed to be ready to play against Liverpool, which is going to be a massive return. So maybe they have a game tomorrow against Shakhtar Donetsk in Champions League, so maybe he's also back by then. We don't really know the details of that injury, but I don't think Saka's going to have can miss more than one game. But then looking at Odegaard, that is a bit more complicated. Supposedly he was ahead of schedule in the injury return in like a fortnight ago, but he was not called up to the Bournemouth squad, and Arteta really didn't say, really did say that Martin is still not fit, Odegaard is still not fit. So I think he'll miss at least a week. So maybe the next two games, one in the Champions League and against the Premier League, he's probably gonna miss both of those games. Now, if he returns to play against Brentford midweek next week, that's still very unknown. But if he doesn't, then Arsenal are very doomed. Now, also to add to that, to the people they are missing, Saliba also got a red card. Luckily, the type of offense he committed on red card, it only equals to a 1 game missed, because like Niall goal scoring opportunity, you're only going to miss 1 game in the domestic competitions. What that means for the next Premier League match, he's going to be suspended. I mean, that's very, very good for Arsenal, considering the run of the 3 games they're going to have. Because if he was going to suspend after the next 3 games, Arsenal will be in a very much worse situation, but thankfully it's only going to miss 1 game. But that game is going to be very important, and I'm going to tell you why right now. So obviously Arsenal are already in third Premier League table. Looking at past season, that's not really that great, and looking at the position Arsenal are now, they have an immense pressure at winning the title and making a very good race to the title. Being third as of this point is not great. Obviously, he had a very tough run of fixtures. Again, like they already played against Brighton, Aston Villa, Tottenham, City. So I mean, those are obviously tough games to go by. And being third is not that bad. They could be worse, but they still have kind of a gap between them and City, and Liverpool. They got it recovered. But losing against Bournemouth is going to really worsen that season. And looking at the next couple of games, this could be a time that if Arsenal doesn't perform now, if Arsenal doesn't get the points they need right now to kind of get a clear lead on some of the teams, they're going to be doomed, because in the Premier League, the next 3 games are going to be very tough. Next game is going to be against Liverpool. This is going to be a very key game. We don't know what players will miss this. If Odegaard and Saka be fit to return to this game, Saliba is going to be out. So Arsenal will be without some of their key players. And they're going to play against a Liverpool team that's in first. That's been great throughout this season so far. They played against a very good opponent in Chelsea this weekend and actually beat them and 1-1. So all the doubt about Liverpool playing against big teams is kind of reduced now. So Arsenal needs to win this game. It is going to be a very key game because if Arsenal doesn't win this game, then the maths on the title decision is going to get tough. Because if they lose this game against Liverpool, it's going to be a 7-point gap. Of course, I mean, we start very early into the season, but if they get a 7 points gap on Liverpool right now, and they maybe not even the best team in the league right now, it's going to be a very tough situation for Arsenal to kind of turn around. After this game against Liverpool, you're going to have a game against Newcastle and Chelsea, both away games, so it's going to be even tougher. Obviously, Newcastle, as I'm looking at this season, I don't know where they are placed, and I know they're not doing so well. I mean, considering the team they have, they can still perform at any different moments because they have a very good team. So especially away from home, Arsenal cannot consider this game an easy one. It's going to be a very good game for Arsenal to win points, to get even a win. So, again, it's a key game. And the third game is going to be even more difficult. Chelsea-Arsenal, at Stamford Bridge, obviously we know that these games are always heated. We know the history of those games. And Chelsea so far this season actually surprised me. They've been very, very, very good. Enzo Maresca got his team up and running. They are in very good form. I think they are in top 4 position right now. They're in 4th, and they're done really well. And against Liverpool this weekend, they gave a lot of struggles. So they did discomfort Liverpool a lot. So I can say that Chelsea is going to difficult Arsenal a lot. It's not going to be an easy game. It's going to be a very hard game for Arsenal to kind of compete in and even get a draw in. Because Chelsea are this good of a team right now. If Chelsea can continue to form, Arsenal are in a very bad position, especially because they also have a lot of visual concession in the next weeks. They have a game tomorrow against the next, then games Liverpool, and a midweek game against Preston, and against Newcastle then, Inter in the Champions League, again, tough game against Inter, and then Chelsea. And knowing how bad the squad depth Arsenal has, it's going to be very complicated for Arsenal to get through all these competitions. Obviously, Preston, it's going to be an easy game for them to play some academy youngsters. But apart from that, these are all games that Arsenal need to maybe put their best squad into, because Arsenal doesn't have really good squad depth, especially offensively. You kind of have like 2-3 players on the bench that can play. Ethan Nwaneri is been really good. I think Arteta really needs to give him more and more minutes, especially with this physical concession right now. He needs to really put him into tests and really put him out there and make them great. Because this is one of what's going to be like 6 games for the international break in November. It's going to be very key for Arsenal throughout this season. If they don't get a good run of games in these 6 games, Arsenal going to be in a very bad position. I mean, if they lose once against Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle United, obviously that's reasonable because these are still very good teams in terms of quality. But a team that wants to win the Premier League, they've got to win these games. Because winning these games are the best opportunity for you to get a better lead on these players, on these teams, cut down the gap you have between them. If they don't prove themselves worthy of winning those games, I think Arsenal might be looking at already next season, because I know it's still very early into the season. After these 3 games, you're going to be in match week 11, so I mean, it's not even in the first third of the season, but it's going to be a very key part of the season for Arsenal. If they don't win, it's going to be very tough for them.